Oh, thank you, and thank you for having me here. It's always a pleasure. So what I want to talk to you today is about changes. And changes is something we go through all through our lives. And the only thing constant with the universe is change. So it happens every time. Now there's a song by David Bowie that goes, changes, come and feel the strange. Okay, so sometimes our changes, when we go through them, are going to affect our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual being. And it's how we adapt to them, the changes. And that's where our principle number 7 comes in. By following nature's physical and spiritual laws, then we create our own happiness. I'm going to stop there because we're creating our own happiness. All right? And when we look at changes coming towards us, we have to reflect that that's going to be a positive outcome. Even if it's negative coming in, we have to transmute negative energies into positive outcomes. And we always have to have that mental state of mind with the changes. Now, when I was 12 years old, I went through a significant change, and I had a near-death experience. And so that I was riding a bicycle, and a gentleman ran a yield sign and dragged me under his Jeep for 50 yards. So then I was in a semi-coma, well, a coma I guess you would call it, for 3 days. But then it's that near-death experience was like going to the white light. There wasn't any tunnel meeting any of my family members, but it was just experiencing what I would call the oneness. It's just peace and love in that white light. And then that's, we have to believe in infinite intelligence. That's our first principle. And so when I was there, it was to get to know that vibration. And then I had a visitor there. I was Archangel Michael, and then he showed me a couple things about the creation of the universe and what went on with that. And then when I was brought back into my body, then it was like Mother Mary putting me back into my body. And I'm looking up at a white ceiling in the hospital like this. And my first words were, am I in heaven? Right? So it was significant. But through that change, there were several things that happened. The physical side of it, I do have scars from that accident. Some emotional scars too, for my whole family involved. I mean, the person who ran the yield sign called my mother right away and said, I think I just killed your son. So a lot of emotional things like that, and then the physical scar being, in middle school, didn't had some emotional trauma associated with what people said about that. But we have to have the courage to go through those type of changes. The mental aspect, well, you have to overcome that and just believe. But going back to that oneness or infinite intelligence and that peace and love, that was a lot of strength. there's a lot of things that, you know, when I was up there, you could feel the prayers that were going out to the universe for the people praying for me. So that probably had a significant outcome of bringing me back. So, but spiritual aspects of what that change is, the significant part was no fear. All right, no fear of death, and I guess when I was recovering from that for the next couple years or so, that it really gave me the fact that I wasn't afraid of anything. I could do anything that I wanted. The mediumship abilities I had already had when I was a child, but I grew up Catholic. My mother taught in a Catholic school, so these things didn't exist, or I had an overactive imagination. All right? But, okay. So, but after that near-death experience, then it was no fear. And besides the mediumship abilities, then it also had what I would call supernatural abilities that was associated with that fear. And a couple years after that experience, then we had some friends visiting out from California, and this person was maybe 2 or 3 years younger than me, but we went out to the gravel pit. And the gravel pit, at that particular time, I think it was August, and it was kind of caked over with the mud and stuff. So we went out on it, and the other person started jumping up and down like a trampoline, and he thought it was great. And then I would have been from here to the second row, and the person is jumping up and down, and all right, goes right through, and he's up to his neck and sinking. So, and now because of that no fear and those supernatural abilities, then I went out there, and he's going under, and I grab his arm and pull him up, you know, and then get him across and out. So, all right, so no fear, but okay, you can do these things. It's all within us. All right, so when we got home, it was a good wash-off, right? The river was right next door, but he was too scared of the current to wash off. But, you know, there might have been some severe yelling from my parents. All right? And the parent of the other person who went through was really torn about it. So, but, you know, those, from that change from that near-death experience, that's what the gifts you could call that I received. But we all have to look at these gifts of spirit, whether it be prophecy, healing, knowledge, wisdom, and discernment, that we all have those, and we have to believe in it. So, getting back to changes, then we all go through changes, and part of the changes that we have is going from the 3D to 4D to 5D on our spiritual growth. And everybody who comes up in this life is in that 3D mode. And 3D mode is all about ego, all about I have a better car than you do, I have a better house, I have, you know, it's keeping up with the Joneses. And part of that is the subliminal programming that we have with it, which is follow the American dream, all right? So you're going to be in debt for the rest of your life, so if you keep up with the Joneses. So we have to look at when we go awaken to 4D, then we come on our spiritual growth, that there's something bigger than just life. All right? Humanity as a whole is in need of our services. And with 4D awareness and awakening at that particular time, we have to realize that being in 4D is still in 3D mode. Right? All religions operate in 4D, but they're living in 3D because their path to God is the only way. All right? So I also had a teacher who in his spiritual wisdom class, you would come into his class and he always wanted people to get knowledge from his guru. And when he went into his class, he would say to his students who had, you have knowledge. You have knowledge. You don't have knowledge. All right? Pointing at me. So, I don't have knowledge. And I just have to explain to him, well, you know, you're teaching this wisdom, but that's still, you know, in the 3D sense of living. And he looked at me. When he passed, he said that his biggest disappointment was that I didn't get knowledge from his guru. And I looked him in the eye, and I just said, but I've had that knowledge in a past life. Right? And he looked at me and just smiled and agreed with that. So, all right. So that's the 4D is we're having our spiritual awakening and our awareness. Then, on our spiritual growth, our changes more or less go to what I would call self-mastery. All right? Now we're taking the action to do what we are for humanity. And that's going to take what I would call self-discipline and focus. All right? We have to more or less walk the talk. There's a lot of people who are out there who are great at saying, this is what we need to do, this is what we need to do, but okay, where's the result? Right? So with our 5D awareness of that oneness, that we are all part of that infinite intelligence, or the God that lives within and without, that if we follow our principles, then we can make a difference in this life. And by following the principles, it's like I always go back to number 6, living the golden rule. Do unto others as you would like them do unto you. So, and that means pretty much living life with what I would call gratitude and kindness. We always have to have gratitude for the people, for just living our lives. So we have to have gratitude and thank God for infinite intelligence for everything that we have. But we also have to give gratitude to the people who help us as well. And then this main thing about living the golden rule is kindness. Just be kind to people. We're not walking in their shoes, all right, to know what they're going through. physically, emotionally, or mentally. So the biggest thing, now I'm getting Aretha Franklin coming in. Respect. All right. Okay, so we have to respect people. And, I guess there's another guide. One of my guides is John Lennon, and he would always, with our Imagine song there, it would be, imagine all the people living life in peace. Right? And that's one of the things. And I think what he's saying, if you want to put that in a 5D kind of awareness thing, it's then imagine all the people making the world a better place. All right? And that is our challenge. All right? In the changes that we make in our lives to go from that 3D to our 5D and making the world